trust is never given, it's always earned. So we have to earn the trust of the youth. So we're trying to attack that from a couple of different ways. One is by being more seen and more spoken to in schools, meaning setting programs up inside our middle schools, from mentorship programs to athletic lead programs after school, different programs where we can try to earn those young men and women trust.
Welcome to Talkin Trades. With me, as always, is the business manager for Georgia Construction Careers, Randy Beal. Today, our guests are Kenny Mullins, who is the business manager for the largest construction trade union in the Southeast, the IBEW Local 613. And our honorable guest is Sheriff Craig Owens from Cobb County. Sheriff, thank you for joining us and welcome.
Well, good morning, and thank you for having me.
We're real pleased that you're here, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Sheriff's Cup, which is an effort to raise awareness of bullying. But I wanted to start this conversation off. It's apropos that we're having this on May 1st, because May 1st is the beginning of Mental Health Awareness Month. It's something that I'm passionate about, particularly among men.
Right.
I don't think it gets talked about enough. I think there's a stigma around it. And I just kind of wanted to open the discussion up. I wanted to talk specifically about your efforts around the subject of bullying. I cannot imagine how much that sort of manifests itself in the community. But when I talked to you last, we were talking about how it sort of spins itself into gang activity. And I just kind of wanted to open up the discussion about how we might address that in the community as community leaders and work with law enforcement, et cetera. So Sheriff Owens, I thank you for joining us, and if you could just sort of start us off like that.
Absolutely. I think it's different today that this is the first day of the mental health month that we're discussing about bullying, because those two kind of go hand in hand. Yeah. You know, sometimes if our children are being bullied, it turns them into having a mental health crisis. So that also works, unfortunately, against our youth as they turn to mental health crisis. Also, then they turn to gang-related functions, because now they're looking for something to be a part of or someone to protect them from being bullied. So all three of those things kind of work hand in hand. So what we're doing in Cobb County is trying to take that total effect or total look at this, I like to say, crisis that we're having with our youth. And we're gathering this around our middle school age kids, where we're seeing this problem really start to manifest. So we're trying to tackle it at our middle school level by trying to get into our schools more, be more active, have more mentorship programs, more programs where our kids can give them outlets from bullying, people they can talk to, people they can turn to for help if those things arise at their school, at home, or their neighborhood. Those are things that we're trying to do very aggressively here in Cobb County. But as I tell anybody, and you probably heard me say before, we are nothing without our kids, because they are absolutely our future. So we have to, as they say, you got to protect them well, let them lead the way. And that's what we're trying to do in Cobb, is protect our youth so they can lead the way for the future for us, so we can have a successful, youth, young adult coming up behind us to lead us.
So how do you address that as law enforcement? Unfortunately, there's so much anti-law enforcement rhetoric out there among youth. How do you engender trust among young people so that they know that the sheriff's department is on their side?
That's a good question. Just like anything, trust is never given, it's always earned. So we have to earn the trust of the youth. So we're trying to attack that from a couple of different ways. One is by being more seen and more spoken to in schools, meaning setting programs up inside our middle schools, from mentorship programs to athletic lead programs after school, different programs where we can try to earn those young men and women trust. But I think the thing I think we're doing very good too, as well, as we're trying to get that trust in more than one way. Athletics is always a big draw for us. That really gets those youth involved. So we're definitely putting a lot of time and effort in athletics. So, we're talking about the football program coming up. We may do baseball, we do soccer, trying to partner with some of the Falcons and Braves, do youth programs for the summer. So we're trying to find different ways to attack specifically on the youth athletics, which normally we can be able to make really effective change. But also we're hitting a little differently, maybe some other people, we're hitting our faith and worship facilities too as well. Asking our local faith followers to come out and help us in these endeavors, talking to churches, kids having issues, can you guide them to us? You know, we're giving scholarships out now for young men and women to go to school and for colleges to try to, you know, have that outlet for them as well. Having internships over the summer for some of our youth that can come out and make money and stay out of trouble and do things. So we're trying to get it from several different angles here in Cobb County to try to reach out to youth and keep them successful and stay out of being bullied.
So
Hey, Russ,
you
Russ,
guys, I
really-
wanted to ask Randy a question about,
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
No, go
but
ahead.
about how you guys came up with the Sheriff's Cup and how that all ties in, what the Sheriff's Cup is, how it manifests itself in the community, and how you
Sure.
guys started this effort.
So I want to say something first. You know, I think there's the media drives sometimes the smallest voices to the largest platforms. And, you know, we see a lot about, you know, not backing the blue or sheriffs or police, and I hope the sheriff knows this, and I hope he knows it deep down, and I think he does, but there's so many more people on the side of police than are against the police and sheriff's departments. Unfortunately, in our media society we live in today, the smallest voices get the largest platforms. And Sheriff, I want you to know that on behalf of construction workers, we represent the 25,000 construction members. They're 100% behind the back of our law enforcement. We would live in a so unjust and unworthy society without what your men and women do every day. And we appreciate that. And that is why we want to partner with groups like yourself and Cobb and Fulton, DeKalb, every police and sheriff's department out there, because without y'all, we don't move freely. And we don't want brazen old West days again, where we're just trying to police ourselves. So thank you for what you do and what your men and women do. You keep us safe, and we don't forget that. So I just want to say that. And then right to your question on the Sheriff's Cup. So the idea was bred up in Gwinnett County. I mean, in Gwinnett County with Kibo Taylor, and they was doing a 7th grade football game to bring awareness. So with our relationship with him, I met with him and talked to him, and they had no vision of putting it on TV or anything like that. And we had those relationships to make that happen with Kenny Mullins, the IBW 613, myself, and IJ Rosenberg of Score Atlanta. And so we three together formed a partnership, the Sheriff's Cup LLC, and had meetings with 46, sold them on the idea to put this on TV. Last year was the first year. It went over really well. You know, you was in media, you sold media at one time. And so, you know, that TV stations, you know, they want stuff that is not only a great cause, but great viewing. It turned out to be a great viewed program, and they wanted us back. So this year we expanded it to beyond Gwinnett, to Cobb and Fulton and DeKalb. And, you know, there's been a lot of smack talk on who the best is. We're going to find out who the best is. But the main thing, we do know this: the best advocates for our children is our sheriff's department, and being involved in this, and the construction groups, union construction groups, being involved in bringing awareness to bullying. That's who the winners are going to be at the end of the day. But I'm sure the sheriff would say that Cobb County football is going to dominate this game.
Well, you got 2 Cobb County guys, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Kenny, you're a Cobb County guy as well. So,
Sure. Yeah, Cobb County is going to win this year. We're going to take it away.
so Kenny, would you just sort of talk about like what the structure of the Sheriff's Cup is, how it's going to, what, you know, who the teams are involved, what age group, that sort of thing?
Well, I think it's basically getting it on TV, like Randy had mentioned, was simply to bring awareness to the issue, to get it out to everybody. Because when we were discussing it with the sheriffs, you know, we learned that it's the 7th grade, as it is the most prominent age where they're approached, they're bullied. And then in a lot of cases, and this is coming from the sheriffs who's educated us on this, is the gangs would do the bullying and then come in and offer protection. And that's how they recruited into the gang. But, you know, it's going to be August the 12th. And it's going to start, the times are coming. I think we're going to start playing at 9. All the teams so far, Randy may know, but I don't know who is actually in it. Far as the 7th grade team, that's still coming out. We have a meeting this afternoon, but at the end of the day, it's, you know, on the field and off the street. You know, let's minimize the time that they have to get in trouble. Even with me going back as a kid, I can remember, you know, the idle hands that you've always heard of, the devil's workshop.
Mhm.
You know, if you're not busy, you're not doing something, you conjure up stuff and you start getting in trouble. So it's a great sense of unity, bringing the team atmosphere, being able to lean on each other, help each other, and it takes up their time. And then they get something that they can buy into that makes a difference. And even in your life moving forward, you're always going to have to work with somebody. So you're learning skills to communicate, you're learning skills to work with others. And it's just a great thing. And that's why I'm, you know, I want to push this and try to do what my little part that I can do to change the structure of the bullying and the anti-gang stuff. And we can't do it without the sheriffs. You know, thank y'all for what y'all do. I can't tell you enough. You know, Sheriff Owens educated me. We was actually eating at Longhorns, and I remembered we were talking about, you know, assault weapons and different things. And Sheriff Owens says, you know, nobody needs a high capacity magazine. He said, imagine being on our side, going to a situation with somebody that's got all these weapons. So I think all of this goes together to cut down the bullying, the gang violence. There's a lot that goes into it, and I'm just glad I'm part of it, and glad that I'm able, even at my age, to continue to learn, you know, what people face and how to handle different situations by way of gang and bullying and things like that. So thank y'all for what you do. August 12th, 9 a.m. is what the first game is going to be, is what I'm hearing, but I don't know the teams yet.
Sheriff,
Hey, Rudd,
why 7th grade?
From the data we're receiving, at least specifically in Cobb, I think it's kind of going across the metro. That appears to be the age and grade class where most of these instances are starting to occur around the 7th grade. And it's a little bit in both 6th and 8th, but it seems like the majority is occurring around that 7th grade or year, the person age around the 7th grade year of school. So that's why we targeted that age group and class.
You know, Rudd, I will say last year, to our knowledge, and when I say our knowledge, myself, Kenny, and IJ Rosenberg's for Atlanta, who's a lot more involved in media than we are, but it was the first time that we believe 7th grade. We know the first time 7th grade's been on TV in Georgia. Might have been the first time in the country. And this year doing it again, obviously another first. You know, it's four teams, 4 counties. We can only see this growing into the future. You know, this problem of bullying is not just in Gwinnett, Cobb, Fulton, and DeKalb. It's all over. But I applaud these 4 for taking up the reign and starting it. And I want to say one thing. I read a story the other day about a teenager who was 13 years old, not in this state. We have these in our state too, that came home from school. He had been bullied. His mom and daddy did what they thought they needed to do. They went to the school, reported it. You know, the schools do what they can do. There's so much bullying beyond just school. Social media has opened up an incredible avenue for kids to be bullied that we can't police. And it's funny to me how TikTok and Twitter and all this can kick people off for saying something political, but they won't kick them off for something bullying. Drives me nuts. That's another story. This 13-year-old got home from school, texted his mom and dad saying, "Hey, I'm home. See you when you get here." Went in the room and shot himself. And, you know, we've got to figure out a way as a society to stop that. And, you know, if this awareness can help, then we want to be a part. Sheriff, I want to tell you that the powers that be, the folks of us who run the Sheriff's Cup LLC, myself, Kenny, and IJ, have made a decision we haven't shared with you yet. I don't believe told Tebow in his podcast, but we've decided that 50% of the funds raised by your department So we know you have backers. 50% of those funds will come back to you to continue your efforts on bullying. So whatever
Awesome.
we got to cover expenses. We know that. We want to keep
Right.
it on TV. We're going to bring you on Friday nights, but we want you to know whatever your department raises from your people who support you there in Gwinnett or Cobb, that it will come back to you and the department to continue this, because it's a year long. It's not a 1 game day.
Right.
This is a year long battle. So I just wanted you to know that we're happy to support that effort and looking forward to what's going to happen.
That is
Suffice
absolutely
to-
awesome.
Suffice to say, Sheriff, you work with the different sheriffs and other metro and the other sheriffs in the metro
Right.
area. Yes, on this sort of effort.
Yes. No, and most of the metro, we talk at least once a week about different issues that's affecting each one of our counties. So we kind of have a very good relationship in the metro Atlanta area, what's going on in our community. So that really helped us, again, solidify this age group by us speaking and comparing data points and making sure we had the right age group, just like Randy said. But I just want to add something if I could. Excuse me. As we're talking about bullying, gangs, mental health, and Randy brought something I thought about it, forgot to mention suicide amongst these youth as well. It's starting to rise. So it's a combination of things. So you got bullying, you got gangs, mental health issue, and now you're throwing a fourth one in with suicides. So I think we're attacking more than just one or two things. We're attacking 3 or 4 different areas to try to help our children and save our children so they continue to be our future. So I think that's important. Everyone on this call today to protect our children and provide them the resources they need to be successful. And we just really think that athletics is just one of many ways, but one that we can get more attention out of getting those youth on the right direction to be successful.
Well, I think, Kenny, you've done a really great job of trying to bring awareness to that particular issue. I know your guys have a mental health counselor that is available to your membership. You know, it's just one of those things that we've gone way too long, particularly with guys. You know, I can't speak for women, but I know that guys just don't, it's just not something we talk about either. You know, it's taboo, or, you know, nobody wants to show weakness or whatever. But, you know, I know, Kenny, you're big on this as well, and have done a lot of things for your membership to try and foster that, you know, that it's okay to, you know, to talk about it.
Yeah, I got a question for Sheriff Owens on part of the mental health. Is your department, are y'all seeing a lot more cases of induced psychosis by cannabis due to cannabis use? It feels like that seems like it's growing. Everybody always thinks marijuana's okay. Are y'all seeing an increased number of psychosis due to cannabis induced?
We have a slight increase because it's been spiked or spread with some other type of narcotic, which is causing some of those actions you're speaking of.
Okay.
But we don't have a lot of data yet to give you some good data point numbers. We have seen a slight increase, specifically when they've been laced or stopped with something else on top of that cannabis.
Suffice to say,
that also seems like one of the first drugs a 7th and 8th graders start doing because they think it's the most common. And so that's why I was wondering if there was any numbers on that. So
Right.
Interesting. Hey, Sheriff, question I have, and it relates, I guess, it does relate. Everything relates to what we're talking about. But I wonder, in your department, we don't often talk about this, but I know in amongst our trades, there's a mental health issue. How about in the sheriff's department itself? Your guys and gals are under a lot of pressure. How can we help you in a department? I mean, Kenny has a counselor here at IBW 613. He can say it's one time a month. They're sitting here waiting on people to come. And I'm sure he would be open to, if you have deputies that need to come talk to somebody. Sometimes they don't want to talk within the ranks because then they appear weak. I'm
Right.
sure Kenny would open that door. But I'm just curious. I know we all have them, no matter what area
Right.
of trade we're in. But tell me a little bit about that. I'm just curious.
That's a good question. I'm glad you asked, because I'm tell you a little bit about how at least my agency works. So unfortunately, latter part of last year, I had 2 deputies killed in gun duty. And so that was the first portion of us really having to get into grief counseling and peer support counseling. So we hired outside psychiatrists come in and talk to our people and make sure they had all the mental health care wellness they needed. But after we did that, we continued by creating peer support teams within the organization. So each one of our shifts have peer support counselors and our team members. We still have an outside psychiatrist that we contract as need to come in. If they need to speak to someone, they'll come in and talk to them, meet them somewhere, nowhere near the county they want to go where they want to be secluded. So, sometimes, as you just said, that they can be embarrassed about reaching out for help. They go outside the county and meet the counselor or psychiatrist and talk to them. So we put a lot of things in place since that time to enhance that availability of peer support and mental health counseling for our deputies and civilians here.
That's excellent. Great. Anyway,
So-
we could be an assistance on that, let us know.
Absolutely. You can never have too many.
So Sheriff's Cup, to raise awareness for anti-bullying, or to raise awareness about the problem of bullying and how it manifests itself in the community. The game is August 12th, 2023. We're trying to get as many people involved in this effort as we can. Randy, Kenny, how do local businesses get involved in this? I don't have to tell you guys, and Sheriff, you could probably expound on this a little bit, but local businesses are just as affected by gang activity as maybe anybody. How do they get involved in this thing to help us spread the word on this, to help us create programs where kids can do something other than feel, like they need to join a gang?
Well, I would say if you're in Gwinnett, if you're in Cobb County, and you want to get involved, reach out to the sheriff's department, because again, they're going to get 50% of the proceeds back to them to help continue their efforts beyond this game. 50% will go to, helping us keep the game on TV. If you're outside of Cobb County, get in touch with myself or Kenny. I can be reached at randy@georgiasheriffscup.com. And Kenny, I'll let you give your contact information. But I encourage you in Cobb County, reach out to the sheriff's department. I hope you're okay with that, Sheriff. And,
Absolutely.
and let's let that money fly that way.
Yeah. And you can also, there's a site, you can visit the site, www.thegeorgiasheriffscup.com as well. So that has some information on it. It has a video that Sheriff Owens and Sheriff Kibo Taylor kind of had some banter going back and forth, some fun stuff to do. So that's
Right.
also an avenue to get more information if you need it.
And I will put all this stuff in the notes as well for anybody with clickable links and everything. Sheriff, is there a particular number that a general interest number that people not 911 obviously?
No, yeah, I got you.
But
Yeah.
like a general interest number that the public can call, that business owners can call if they want to get involved in the Sheriff's Cup?
Yes, actually, there's 2 things we're gonna do here a little differently that y'all can spread to my competitors so they can catch up with Cobb County. So one is we're gonna include this event on our Sheriff app and put that out so any of the citizens in Cobb County can see it, because we have about a couple 100,000 people sign up for the app. So hopefully they'll see stuff about information on the game on the app first. So we're gonna get that rolled out, information about the Sheriff's Cup. Secondly, we're gonna work with our Sheriff's Foundation as well to get this information broadcast out through our local business community and to make sure our business owners in Cobb County know about this worthwhile event and hopefully try to solicit their participation in this as well. And then we also will put it on our Sheriff's Office webpage. Let everybody know if they come look anything for the Sheriff's Office, that'll pop up as well. So we're gonna try to hit it from a couple of different aspects. And we'll have an outside consultant working on this as well from the Sheriff's Office. So we're gonna try to hit this thing as like a full court press to do whatever we can to advertise it, get donors to make this event successful for everyone.
Sheriff Owens, I think I can speak for these guys and saying, yeah, I know how busy you are. you know, and I really appreciate you joining us today. I'll put all these things in the liner notes. It's coming at us, as my mother used to say, the day after Halloween is Christmas, you know. It's
It'll be in
May
some-
1st and it'll be here before we know it. So
And
we're
let me
gonna
give you
put
that
this-
number you asked for as well.
please do.
It'll be 770-499-4611.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kenny, Randy, Sheriff Owens. Thank you so much for joining Talking Trades. We'll put this out and have all those links in there. And we look forward to seeing everybody August 12th at the Sheriff's Cup.
Awesome.
Looking forward to it. Go Cobb.
Thanks, Sheriff.
All right.
Go Cobb.